Hi everyone, I'm the Gnome, and I've just seen the first two episodes of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, and I thought that I would give you my thoughts on it. So what it is, it's another spy TV series, because apparently there's loads knocking about these days, especially with, as mentioned previously, The Blacklist, and also Orphan Black, which I think I've got 5 episodes to watch. It's very much Human Target and like a kiddie version of Fringe, which is not necessarily a bad thing. There is some good points. There's also some bad points. And basically we'll start with the good points, because where else is there to start? So the good points, if you're a big Marvel nut, there's loads of nice little kind of nods in the TV series. The plane they fly is designated 616, which is in the kind of multiverse, the Marvel kind of continuum, which is very much nice. There's kind of throwbacks to the films, the TV series, mentioning like the Tesseract and the Chitauri, and it's nearly worth just watching just to go, oh yeah, I've got that. Maybe for future episodes I'll have like a little, like a nodometer, so we can try and work out how many actual nods there are during the TV series. Acting wise, Greg, as Agent Coulson is pretty good. I'm not sure why that character works, because it's just very downplay everything, to be honest. Like he's just sailing through life. But that as a character generally works. We've kind of seen him build up through about 6, 7, 8 films now, and it's nice to see him back. What they don't do is tell us exactly what's happened as to why he's back, but they do hint towards something kind of extra has been done. He mentions that he's been recovering in S.H.I.E.L.D, which is a magical place, which he references a couple of times, which really thinks some kind of hypnotism whilst he was being kind of rebuilt from the ground up. So that's quite nice. Effects-wise, pretty good for a kind of big budget TV series. I mean, they're not hugely different to the likes of like an Alias or like Fringe, but it's nice to see. I mean, some of the special effects are pretty cool. First episode, guy kind of jumping out of a building, which I think is kind of seen in the trailer, is quite nice. Some of the dialogue, it's a little bit over Joss Whedon, to be honest. I can see that's obviously where they're going for. Maybe he's had a quick kind of scan over the scripts, but sometimes it's a bit too kind of much in your face, kind of a bit too obvious. Whereas if you kind of compare it to the likes of a Serenity or a Dollhouse, even though that wasn't hugely popular, but I love Dollhouse, it kind of just felt a little bit nicer. But maybe that's just kind of my humble opinion. Well, it's definitely my humble opinions coming into it. What's not very good about it? I would say the rest of the acting isn't very good, to be honest. There's a nice little cameo by Samuel L. Jackson in the second episode. It's literally the last 3 minutes, so just watch that, to be honest. That's probably the best bit of the episode. Outside of Clark Gregg, characters are alright. They do a decent job, to be honest. It's just that kind of fast-talking, Whedon-esque talk over each other dialogue that's been done better. Maybe it's just the characters need a bit more time to kind of stretch out. I mean, it's only episode 2, so Buffy didn't really get good until a good few seasons in. Obviously, Serenity was culled before its time, and that started off sparkling. So maybe it's just that lack of kind of polish. I mean, maybe it's just kind of the actors on of the same kind of grade as they were in Serenity, which is why, for me, it doesn't exactly just kind of perfectly hit off. The team is very much kind of just reading by the numbers. They're all young. All the ladies are super attractive. There's ones that can do kung fu. It's you just kind of bog standard Whedon-esque kind of cast of characters. And I'm maybe being too harsh on it, to be honest, because more Joss Whedon the better. But I don't know, for me, and I think my main criticism, it's very kiddie friendly. Nobody gets, well, actually that's a lie. In the second episode, a couple of people get thrown off a plane, but we don't mention that. We don't mention that. They're bad guys. It's very kind of bright. It's very much The Avengers, the TV series. So what we do get in that is it's, as I mentioned, bright, everything's shiny, everything's kind of nicey. Isn't really much of a kind of dark undercurrent as of yet. We're still kind of missing a big bad. There's the Rising Storm, which is like a hacker group, assuming some kind of like anonymous style hacktivists. Maybe that'll actually go somewhere into a bigger threat. At the moment, the first 2 episodes are very much kind of monster of the week, Scooby-Doo-esque. Well, we didn't go here, do this, sound, no further continuation on. As I mentioned in the Blacklist video, which is the previous video I did, I would like some more kind of underlying, ongoing kind of plot arcs rather than just like a monster of the week. Fringe was very much the first 6-7 episodes of series 1, very much monster of the week. Dollhouse is the same as well. The first 3 or 4 episodes, very much Elijah Dushku's going to go and do something individual which has no relevance to anything else. It was only kind of later in both of those series, as J.J. Abrams did Fringe and Joss Whedon did Dollhouse, that it really got to feel confident, or the script got to the point where it's right, let's have some multiple arcs going on. Let's have an underlying kind of big bad. It's weird. I've harkened this back to No Time. Alias very much started off with some things aren't quite as they seem. There's some underlying mysteries there, which I very much appreciated. So my big kind of concern with Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., other than it's a shit title, really, is that it seems very kind of, it's like a cartoon at the moment. And if that's what they're aiming for, great. They've kind of nailed that market and kids will love it. But maybe it's just because I'm a miserable 30-year-old that I'd like something a bit more. Considering we're in a kind of post-Fringe, post-Breaking Bad, post-The Wire, post-basically anything on the likes of HBO, Showtime, Dexter, it just seems very much a throwback. It feels like Human Target. And if you haven't seen Human Target, it's a big campy spy show which was pretty bad, but kind of fun in a kind of way. Rorschach's in it, from the Watchmen movie, not actually playing Rorschach because that'd be awesome. But it's got very much that kind of primary colour feel to it. Whereas I would quite like a little bit more kind of undercurrent, undertone. It's the perfect companion piece to Avengers Assemble. Totally not gonna lie to that. It's very much tonally exactly the same. But maybe it's me. I wanted like something a little bit kind of, I don't want to say dark because everything has to be darker, but something with a bit more grit to it, something a bit more kind of in the shadows, not like da 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 da, nice and bright. Feel free to gif that or gif that if you want. But it was alright, to be honest. It was a watchable couple of hours for the first 2 episodes, and I just kind of hope, like Dollhouse, it gets better, like Buffy gets better. It's not gonna reach the heights of Serenity, but it's watchable, to be honest. Probably the next thing I'm gonna watch is Orphan Black, and I'll probably go back on here. So you know what it's like. It's a bit like Fringe. It's a bit like Alias, because apparently that's what all shows are now like, especially after the spy ones. So cheers for watching. Let me know what you think about Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Whether you think it's any good. And the other thing I'd like to put in, before I forget, would be that I'd like some kind of C-D list Marvel characters get involved. This obviously will be difficult to manage, especially if down the line they make a film and they have to then recast. But why can't Luke Cage be in the group? I mean, without wanting to be dodgy, it pretty much looks like Luke Cage was the original, in the original episode. He was super strong. He's basically super strong, and you couldn't really damage him much. And I was like, oh, it could be Luke. Oh, it's not Luke Cage. So why not like introduce like a Luke Cage, especially if you're not going to make a movie? Introduce a Danny Rand. Introduce like an Iron Fist who's just mint at kung fu. And you could. There's a lot of kind of like E-list kind of heroes that you could put in. Throw Matt Murdock in. You don't even have to make him the Daredevil. Just put Matt Murdock in as the team lawyer, because that would be awesome. So I think there's a lot more creative they could actually go with this, and hopefully, if it is a success, which I think it's doing alright in the viewing figures, they might be able to just kind of mature into, and maybe that's the guy, just needs to kind of mature a little bit, and perhaps it will improve to more kind of the degree that I'm enjoying it. So cheers everyone for watching. My name's The Gnome, and I'll see you next time. Good night.